Alright, I am back twice in one day. I got my cheeseburger here. Gonna power up for battle here while we forge some battle armor. Kidding, it's definitely not battle armor, but I just wanted to continue on this project. This is my Seahorse. If you did not see my last episode, bear with me. You're going to have some vision because he doesn't quite yet look like a seahorse, and I wanted to outline what I'm going to do today to bring him to life. So, I have some a bike chain here, and I decided to get this curve of the tail. I think I'm going to start to curve this inward, like this way. I'm trying to hold the phone and hold the chain at the same time. So bear with me. Maybe I'll just grab one. I did want to do two because I want to start to give it some, like a tapered look. So I want it to be narrow and then become wider just as the seahorse's tail would. I tried to look up some pictures of the seahorse, and I'll have to include my Pinterest because there are things that I include for inspiration, but ultimately, like I said, with my plasma art, it usually just comes from my mind's eye. And excuse me, I am definitely chowing down because I seem to burn a tremendous amount of calories when I do this, and I get very hungry in the middle of what I do, and then I don't want to stop. All right, this piece, this is the mangled hog wire. This is going to go kind of like in the belly area, if you can kind of envision. I do have to cut it down, but I'm going to start to give the rib cage dimension. Maybe I'll turn it this way and you can kind of see a little bit better. Like that. See how it kind of curves around? So I'm going to use this existing curve to my advantage. I'm going to break these off, and I'm going to start to give this guy some body here. All right, a little progress. So we are starting to attain dimension. So those are his, so to say, ribs. And what I left here was like kind of this little bow tie on the back. This is where I'm going to attach those little wings that we were talking about yesterday, right? And I'm going to take a step over here to the workbench. So a couple of beautiful things are happening right now. So firstly, I am a salvage metal artist, and my first weapon of choice is my plasma cutter, right? So if you've seen on my page, I have made a lot of artwork out of antique milk cans, shovels, and toolboxes. So what I happen to have an abundance of when I acquire them is sometimes when I purchase them, they come with old tools. And I am accomplishing three things. I am upcycling some of the tools that I have that are no longer useful. Now, I'm sure someone's going to come on here and tell me that I can, in fact, make this functional again. But for right now, we do have adjustable wrenches. We do have some of these tools that are here. I am going to try to pick through, and some of the wrenches that are still good, I will keep unless I have duplicates of them. I try to tame my hoarding addiction, and I'm really trying to minimalize the things I have, so I only have exactly what I need. And then there's things like this that I have that don't have any kind of size on them, so they are going to wind up on the ribs and start forming this this sculpture out of salvage tools. The other thing I'm getting accomplished is I am cleaning up. So all these trays that are getting empty, I'm going to have free workbench space, which nothing makes me happier than having a cleared space so I can create. Right, so our seahorse has rib cage definition, even started up into the neck. This is just draped here because I'm going to try to get them to separate like in the back so that I can start, so to say, his scales in the back, pulling these like, so to say, apart like this. But I'm going to have to heat them to do that because right now they're pretty tight to each other, coming up what would be kind of like a spine here, but I want them to V like and taper up as they come up the back. I'm not totally sure I'm thrilled with this tail. The curvature just isn't flowing exactly the way that I want it. I tried it two different ways, and this is where I'm going to leave it at for the night. It was kind of challenging, like I said, to get it to flare, but the tail is supposed to be like narrower on the end, so I kind of connected the end of the chain here and then tried to get it to flare out. The other challenge I ran into, because I've never really welded any chain or salvaged metal like this, was I'm using flux core because the argon line on the back of my TIG machine had broken in the inclement weather we had over the weekend, single digits, even though I had two heaters in the shop going. So I'm just using MIG welder right now that's just really not getting through. I mean, I'm not so sure that anything would get through the grease on this chain. It's not something that I've ever had any familiarity with, and I find myself getting a little bit frustrated, but I know that this is what I want to use for the tail. It's really giving me that curvature that I want. I even thought about like wedging like this little guy as I start to, like, I had it kind of wedged in there, but the problem is that as I start to build this, see how that kind of gives me like a straight line? I want it to be a flowing line, so I might actually have to forge something to go in there, but nonetheless, he's coming together. So this is just the starting points of the sculpture, and again, I have to leave these loose just for now until I really figure out what's going to fill out that tapering in the back, but for now we've got at least a guide, and this seahorse is coming together. Kind of coming in at another angle too. It actually looks a little bit better from the side. I suppose it's because, like I had mentioned, you're really not going to get fusion if you don't have a properly clean surface. I know that. I wouldn't even go as far as to call myself as a welder at this point. I just have welding experience, and I do know that. So before you come for me, I do have understanding of that. But again, this is a salvaged metal project. I've seen people use chain in salvage metal sculpture art, and it was just something I want to try. So before you come for me, keep in mind that all of this is completely experimental, and this is what's coming from my mind's eye. This is what I feel guided by God to do. Pretty dang excited about it. But night right now, my dogs are waiting for me. It's 8 o'clock at night. You can see my breath. Time to call it quits. It's going to be 55 this week, so we're really excited to get some artwork done.